make sure all the planes are landed safely. Um,
WHCI, if you can hear me, you are all set to go live. Ms. Horsey, go on.
Great. Thank you, Jorida, I'm sorry. The meeting will come to order. It is now 6:31. First, I would like to thank our host for this call, Jorida Reinheimer, who is assistant to town clerk Essie LeBreau. She's going to keep us all in check tonight. My name is Chuck Horsey, and I'd like to welcome you to the virtual October 5th special meeting of the West Hartford Commission on the Arts. Because in-person attendance at public hearings is likely to increase the risk of transmission of COVID-19, this meeting is being conducted in accordance with Governor Lamont's Executive Order Number 7B, as extended by Executive Order 9A, which permits municipalities to conduct public meetings virtually. Commission members and some town staff are participating by WebEx. The public can watch this meeting on Comcast Channel 5, Frontier Channel 6098, or www.whctv.org. With regard to the public comment portion, I wish to first emphasize that phone access to this meeting is only intended for members of the public who wish to actively participate and provide comments during the public comment portion. If you are on the phone and do not plan to speak, please hang up and watch live on television on West Hartford Community Interactive, Comcast Channel 96, Frontier Channel 6099, or streaming at www.whctv.org. Again, if you do not plan to comment, please hang up on your phone now and instead listen to the hearing on the TV or the internet. Thank you. For the members of the public who are still on the phone, please do not mute your device. The meeting moderator will keep everyone's line muted until it is your turn to speak. And again, that's only if we have folks in the public that would like to speak. If you mute your own line, the moderator may not hear your voice when she calls for comment. I will explain how the hand-raising process will work when we begin the public comment section. Because of the virtual format, there are some special rules and procedures that I need to cover before I begin. First, I ask all participants to please mute your devices when you are not speaking. If you wish to be recognized, please raise your hand. And I will call on you. If you are participating via audio only, and I do not call on you and debate is ending, please unmute your phone and let me know so that I can recognize you. Just looking on here, Jorida, how do people raise their hand on the app?
We don't practice raising the hand on the app at all, actually, because everyone's on video. We just encourage everyone to kind of raise their hand, and we just keep an eye out.
Excellent. Second, pursuant to Executive Order 7B, all speakers must state their name and title each time they speak. Third, because of the difficulty of tallying voice votes on a video conference, all votes must be taken by roll call. I will now call the meeting to order and conduct a roll call. And simply, when I call your name, just state your name again and here. Ms. Bachmann.
Here, Karen Bachmann.
Great. Mr. Bragg.
Here, Matthew Bragg.
Thank you, Mr. Cologne.
Javier Cologne here.
Ms. Farrell.
Latanya Farrell here.
Ms. Hoffman.
Nancy Hoffman, present. Here.
Thank you, Nancy. Ms. McCabe.
Carol McCabe here.
Excellent. Ms. Pineda-Sor.
Mural are here.
Great. And Ms. Rothenberg?
Sue Rothenberg here.
Great. All present and accounted for. The first item on our business on our agenda is election of officers. First, are there any nominations? We'll vote for the chair first. Are there any nominations? Let's see. I think we got somebody. Sue, could you please mute your phone? There we go. Are there any nominations from the floor for chair?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mr. Kersey. Yeah, it's best if everyone stays muted until they are ready to speak. I will be muting microphones if they are not speaking. I just wanted to, I don't want anyone to think that I'm being rude. It's just a procedure that we go through.
Great. Thank you, Yorinda. Much appreciated.
You're welcome.
Yes. Any nominations for chair? Chair recognizes, or I recognize Carol McCabe.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Chuck Coursey for the position of chair of the West Hartford Commission of the Arts.
Are there any other nominations? Going once. Okay. A motion has been made to nominate Chuck Coursey for chair of the West Hartford Arts Commission. Is there a second? I see Marilla as a second.
Yes, I second the motion.
Great. I'll take another roll call vote. Are there any other nominations for chair before we move on? One last time. Okay. Karen Bachmann.
Yes. Is that what I should say?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Matthew Bragg.
Yes.
Javier Colon. Didn't get that, Javier.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Chuck Coursey votes yes. Latanya Farrell.
Yes.
Nancy Hoffman.
Yes.
Carol McCabe.
Yes.
Marilla Pinedasor.
Yes.
Marilla, am I pronouncing your name right?
Perfect.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you. Susan Rothenberg.
Yes.
Alrighty, the motion carries 9-0. Thank you, I think. Now we will open nominations for vice chair. Do we have any nominations? Anyone that would like to nominate someone for vice chair? I would like to nominate Carol McCabe for vice chair. Do I hear a second?
Second.
That's with the second. And I apologize if I'm going slow. I'm just taking the minutes also. Okay, let's go through the motion been made in second. We'll take a roll call. Karen Bachmann?
Yes.
Matt Bragg?
Yes.
Javier Colon?
Yes.
Chuck Coursey votes yes. Latanya Farrell?
Yes.
Nancy Hoffman?
Yes.
Carol McCabe?
Yes.
Marilla Pinedasor?
Yes.
And Susan Rothenberg.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, congratulations, Carol. Thank you for your service. Next item, B, meeting rules and procedures. Is there a motion to adopt Robert's Rules of Order as a method for conducting business meetings? Is there a motion? Great. I see Karen with the motion. Is there a second? See Latanya with a second. Let's go through. Let me just keep my notes here. Karen first, Latanya second. Okay, Karen Bachmann,
Yes.
Matt Bragg,
Yes.
Javier Colon,
Yes.
Chuck Corsi votes yes. Latanya Farrell,
Yes.
Nancy Hoffman. Nancy's a yes?
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. Carol McCabe,
Yes.
Marilla Pinedasor,
Yes.
Susan Rothenberg.
Yes.
Great. Next item, C, confirm meeting schedule. Is there a motion to adopt the following schedule for the next 4 meetings? And I have a question. I don't know if someone from the council's office is on this, but I did notice something that didn't seem right. We have 2 meetings scheduled, one for November 5th and in November, one for the 5th and one for the 2nd. Does
They
any,
meant October 5th. Today's the
what's
5th.
that? Yeah. So that's just, we'll make the note that the 4 meetings are for today, October 5th, November 2nd, December 7th, and January 7th.
Mr.
do I-
Corsi,
Yes.
I want to say, looking at the calendar, this is the first Monday of the month. If I'm guessing, you would probably meet every first Monday of every month. So it would
Yes.
be November 2nd
Yep.
and December 7th and January
Yeah.
4th and so on.
January 4th.
If that's, yes, that's
Yeah.
I just closed my calendar.
Yeah, that's what we had agreed to. I wonder, boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
It might just
Okay.
be,
Yep.
yeah.
That's what we had agreed to right earlier. So that makes sense.
Okay.
The meeting is off the rails already. So for 2020, October 5th, November
21.
2nd, December 7th, and then for 2021, January 4th. At our December meeting, we will set the schedule for all of 2021. So do I have a motion to adopt this the calendar? Sue, I see you with your hand up. Is there a second? Javier? Okay, we do the roll call. Karen Bachmann,
Yes.
Matt Bragg,
Yes.
Javier Colon,
Yes.
Chuck Corsi votes yes. Latanya Farrell,
Yes.
Nancy Hoffman,
Yes.
Carol McCabe,
Yes.
Marilla Pinedasor,
Yes.
and Sue Rothenberg.
Yes.
Excellent. All righty, we're moving right along. Okay, reports. What I wanted to do was just give you, and I've spoken with you all individually, just about how this commission came to be and the work of the West Hartford Arts and Culture Collaborative. I would, and just to let you know, just to remind you, the folks that we identified, and this by no means is the end all and be all of West Hartford arts and culture organizations, but these are organizations that work together over the past year, really came together during after COVID hit in March to collaborate and work together and try and help each other out. And they include the West Hartford Art League, Playhouse on Park, West Hartford Symphony, West Hartford Community Theater, the West Hartford Women's Chorale, Ballet Theater Company, Noel Webster House, and West Hartford Historic Society, and the Connecticut Family Theater. I envision that these folks as some of our leading arts organizations, and I welcome others that we may have missed. And they are not part of this commission, but they are important stakeholders to this commission. And just wanted to give that background that's, many of you, if all of you, have connection to at least one of those organizations. But going forward, we're going to be relying on their help, their input, because they really are on the ground, as many of you are in the arts and culture community. And I see, I had sent out to you all the ordinance that covers this commission that was drafted back in the 80s. And it does say that, the purpose of this commission is to foster and facilitate participation in development and appreciation of artistic and cultural activities within the town of West Hartford. I also believe, to add to that, it's not just the organizations, but the artists of West Hartford, because you can't have art without artists. So going forward, and especially now during these challenging times, I think that's something that should drive us. And that's why I was eager to try and get this meeting going as soon as possible so we can really get to the work that we all signed up to do. So with that, that's just a little background of the Arts and Culture Collaborative and ours. Gerard, I don't know if there's anybody on the line that hasn't flipped over to the Yankee game already that would care to comment for public comment.
Mr. Chairman, we do have someone on the line. I can unmute them if you'd like, or if this is that part of the agenda.
Yes.
Okay, so I am going to go ahead and unmute caller whose phone number ends in 51. I have unmuted your mic. You may start speaking now. Please state your name and your address for the record.
I think that's me. This is Roxanne Stahalik at 16 Forest Road, but I don't have anything to say. Thank you.
Always nice to hear your voice, Roxanne.
Thank you, Chuck.
Is there
Thank
anyone
you,
else?
ma'am.
Anyone else, Joanna?
No, there isn't anyone else. I am now going to mute her, and you can proceed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. The next part of the agenda, and this is really, not, we can talk a little bit about it, but in keeping with the spirit, what I was talking about before, about there's no art without artists, there are a couple of things that are being talked about, and it's in town. And I think it's very important that this commission is here at this time. And this pertains to artists. And artists obviously is a broad category: visual, graphic, design, visual, dance, anything. There's talk about a public mural policy in town. About a year and a half ago, I worked with one of our business owners in Elmwood, who bought a property in the center of Elmwood that had a big canvas in front of at the front of his building facing New Britain Avenue, and helped him go through the proper channels to get that done. It's a lovely mural, present company excluded, but and I think it really adds to the vibrancy of Elmwood. I think it's one of our jobs, and our job as a commission. I think I've had this conversation with others. It's not to define what is art, but to help artists, and to make those connections and make it easier for artists to do their work. So I would love to see the town adopt some sort of policy and publicize it, so that if other folks want to do something like that, that they can go out and hire an artist to do some work on private property. The town wants to do something on public property. That's cool too. I know that there's been some discussions about some of the Jersey barriers that are on LaSalle, and those I think are a great opportunity for a canvas for art. But there's so many other things, and that leads us also to the next thing: using our public parks and our public spaces for performances. You've, like me, you've probably been to impromptu concerts in folks socially distant in folks' backyards, or in their neighborhoods. That should be the thing that we should really be encouraging in town. But again, there are certain rules and regulations that need to be followed, and I would love to see the town adopt a set policy that we can rely on and promote, so that people, if they want to do something, they can do it legally and within their right. I know that one of the things that the collaborative, the Arts Culture Collaborative, started working on was a website that included kind of a one place to go if you're interested in West Hartford arts and culture. You want to know what's going on. When's the symphony playing? When's there a show at the Playhouse? When there's a collection or show at the gallery? I mean, there's really, you got to go search around different places, and that's something. And probably more than anything, I want to hear what's important to all of you, and what it is that you want to see happen. We may not get everything we want. Some things might not be possible, but you can't find out unless you ask. And we push the envelope. So what I'd like all of you to do, and then I'll open it up to any questions folks have. Again, look back at the ordinance, and I'll send it again to everyone. That was drafted back in '86. It's what we have to work with today. But the last section, number 6, duties and responsibilities. I'd like each of you to really take a look at that and think about how we can help meet some of these objectives. It's one of the things, just take one of them, at some point we need to develop a formal arts policy for the town of West Hartford. That sounds like a pretty big job. I think at this point, I really, and again, I'm just one of 9, but I really want to tackle the problem of how we can get artists performing and practicing their craft during these times. I think that's probably the most imperative. Again, you can't have art without artists. But there are other things on the list of duties and responsibilities. I'd like for you guys to review those things and then email me some of your ideas, what we can do to help meet those objectives. And then that way, what we'll do is we can craft agenda items and proposals that we can bring to the town. This commission is not, we don't get to draft ordinances or rules, but we can craft something for the town to consider. And the best way to do that is to work with them during the crafting process, so that when we submit something to the town, it has the best chance of being implemented. So that's why I'm looking for those ideas. I threw out a couple of the murals, public parks, but I'd love to hear what you all have to say. And we're obviously not going to decide any of these things tonight, but just kind of wanted to set up how I thought we could best go about doing our work. So with that, I've spoken way too much. I'm open to any comments people want to have. If you just want to raise your hand and I'll recognize you. Carol? Chair recognizes Carol McCabe.
Chuck, I was just wondering, I don't know, maybe you've sent this out before, but I don't think so. If you can send us a list of right now who's a part of the West Hartford Arts and Culture Collaborative?
Yes.
Just so we know.
Yep.
If someone's not included, we'll include them. So just wondering if you can send us that list.
I definitely will. I think I've sent in the past, but I've sent you guys a lot of stuff, and I will send you that list and also the updated or the ordinance as well.
Great.
But it's also important. They are not. Those organizations are our stakeholders. They don't have a vote here. We're their representatives, and it's two separate. They're their own separate body now, and they're doing, their thing. But we're here to help them.
I have another question.
Yes.
Where do the schools come in? So are they, how do they fall in? There's the organizations or stakeholders. I mean, is that part of our thing too?
Absolutely. Again, I'll go back to the ordinance. One of the things it says, the commission may make recommendations to the town council and town manager and the Board of Education and the superintendent of school on art-related matters in furtherance of the town's art policy. So the schools, I'll tell you, and again, I hate to go off on my own little tangents, but I think West Hartford does a lot of things really great. One of the things that we don't do as well is keep track of our artists who go through the school systems and then go out and do great things. I think it's really important to be able to show the kids that are in school now success stories. I mean, the Fern Park and the Leslie Knope Plaza at Fern Park by Michael Shear, the generous donation. I mean, I think that's important for kids that are going through the arts. See, there's lots of reasons you do arts. I mean, it makes us, better citizens, I believe, and it broadens our soul and just telling the stories. But I also think we need to celebrate folks that have come through West Hartford schools and have reached some success. Karen.
There, have to have two hands here. I noticed I have that policy in front of me, and I was going through it while you were reading. The commission shall make an initial survey and shall subsequently maintain an inventory of artistic cultural resources. When my organization, West Hartford Women's Chorale, got involved with the Arts Commission, or the Arts and Culture Group Collaborative, we kind of we have a group of people, but there are tons of other people doing art, whether there's a collaborative of artists in town. There are other organizations, they're listed and spread all over the current West Hartford website. And one of the things I'd like to see, instead of having to look everyone up in alphabetical order, if you don't know the name of something, but you're looking for an artist collaborative, we got one here, to have some kind of a page on the town website that lists the art organizations and perhaps the artists who have websites and are West Hartford residents right there. So that, as a resident, an old resident, a new resident, you can go on the website that the town promotes and find this stuff. I mean, I have other ideas about how to find events but somehow an inventory makes sense to me to try to figure that one out a little bit.
Absolutely. And I do believe, there's 8 or 9 groups that were, very involved during the last 6 or 7 months, but there are more of them out there. And we didn't even begin to scratch the surface of individual artists. But the website, actually, this commission will be on the town website. But we need to have, I believe, a user-friendly way that people can go and check out all the arts. And be able to see what's going on at the Playhouse or what's going on at the Art League or what's going on with the Women's Chorale and all the other groups and any groups we're not missing. What's going on at Conard? What's going on at Northwest? So that's
a list would help. Some kind of general list where you could find other arts in town, or art resources or cultural resources. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions or comments? Matthew.
Thanks, Chuck. I think in addition to that, keeping up with the current technology, to even, I don't know if the town has an app, but to bring it to the younger people, because those who appreciate arts, from our experience at Playhouse, and we have a lot of people who are older in life, but there's a lot of young people who are involved in the arts, and we want their peers to see them and to be involved in appreciating what's out there. So I think having some type of app or some type of using modern technology to get the word out might be beneficial as well. Chuck, you're muted.
I just said so many complimentary things, Matt. I'm sorry we weren't able to record it, but no, you're absolutely right. We need, because the youth is the future. If we don't have youth and excited about art, then that's a terrible loss for the community. And we need to do a better job. I mean, I think the schools do a really good job. They have great art programs, but I don't know about you. When I enjoyed theater when I was a kid, but that wasn't a cool thing to do. And what West Hartford has done, West Hartford has made the arts cool, but we need to get more young people involved in whether it's the collaborative or maybe this is, as a town commission, this is it. I mean, we've all gone through the process for it, but that's not to say that we can't form subcommittees and for youth outreach, inclusion outreach. I mean, we want to make sure that the arts, what we're doing is representative of the whole town, not just from an age, gender, background. So I think those are all good points, Matt. Sue.
One thing I just wanted to add to what Matt said was he got me thinking, not only would an app benefit young people perhaps, but also some older people. Now that my kids are through the school system, I was interested in going to the Pops and Jazz concert, but I'm out of the loop now because I don't have anybody in school. And if I happen to see somebody sign in a lawn, I missed it, missed the whole thing. So anyway, kind of echoing that idea that if we have someplace easy to check to see when things are happening, then the whole community won't miss it.
Let's see, I'm still okay. Yeah, that's a good point. The challenge that we have is, although you now are all powerful, we have no money. We don't have like a bank account, or we're not a line item in the town. That's not to say that we can't advocate and fight for things that we think will help fulfill our mission. But starting off, we don't have. They'll put us on the website. I believe that it's probably, maybe a better thing, and the collaborative have already started working on their own website. It may actually be a better thing to have it not a town website generated thing that for all the arts organizations, much like how the chamber does their own website, but the town has a link on their page. But these are all things, again, we're not going to figure out tonight, but I want to make sure that we have these as agenda items going forward, and get everyone's input on how best to address those. Any other comments? Yes, Marilla.
Yes, I'm just gonna piggyback a little bit on the idea of using public parks to develop programs that could reach perhaps children that right now aren't involved in any arts in school due to disability or maybe a fragile immune system. I just know that there is a demand there, and perhaps thinking of ways that we can collaborate. So an artist will go out to make a show perhaps making it a little bit interactive. And I have a couple of ideas I can detail in an email.
Excellent.
Stuff like this, I've been thinking of it for the past few months. How could I reach those kids in a safe way? And I think parks are the answer.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Really, we've got beautiful parks in West Hartford. We need to use them, and I think art belongs in parks and public places. Nancy, I saw your hand up.
Yes, since we're talking about getting the word out on organizations and how to join things and what's going on. Years ago, you had a newcomers club, and you would find out from them what's going on. Where do you go for this? Where do you go for that? And the other thing, talking about the other end of age, people who are just retiring. I got myself very involved once I retired, and it's lots of times you want a particular thing but don't know where to go for that. So having it all in one place would be very helpful.
Absolutely. I really think the possibilities of what this commission can do are endless. I mean, again, we don't have any money, but we have a drive, and we have, West Hartford is a great town. It's got some great assets. I think the town has missed having a central kind of arts advocacy group in town. And I do think that also that we're in a very tough time right now. And personally, I worry about the artists out there. And I want to, and I think that we should, in everything that we're doing, we have to recognize that these people, I think they're essential employees. If we don't have art, what do we have? And we've got to figure out some ways that we can make it easier. We're not going to make everything all better and 100%, but create an environment that allows them to continue to do their art. Hopefully, make some money at the same time while we're trying to figure out how we get through this, so that they're there for us at the other end. Any other comments? Yes, Javier.
Yeah, hi Chuck. I just would like to add to what you just said. Being an artist myself, and with lots of friends who are in fact artists, full-time artists, it's been really a really tough situation for everyone. I would have loved to have seen some more performance opportunities using our open spaces this summer. I feel like there was a pretty wasted opportunity that we didn't encourage some of our venues to use some of these open spaces that we had. I know that there were some limitations still on how many folks could gather in a particular place. For myself, I can say I've done one show since March. That was a ticketed show, and it was outdoors. Richfield Playhouse did a show. They had a big tent and had folks come, and it was amazing. It was nice to be able to do a show outdoors. And I know that there's so many that just are looking for opportunities, even whether it's virtual, whether it's in person on a smaller scale. Maybe there's something that we can do to facilitate those who are looking for virtual entertainment. I know folks are starting to call and look out for things for the holidays. Maybe there's a way that we can, maybe have a list of artists and their websites, maybe put them somewhere that people can then go and select and say, hey, these people are doing virtual events. These people are available to do smaller events. Maybe there's somewhere we can help promote them in a way to have them, be more visible and possibly, more able to be booked and hired by some companies that are still doing things like that.
Yeah. Or even also for not just virtual, but even, as it gets colder, it's a little tougher, but outdoor. Some of the best art I've seen in the last 5 months is just in the backyard of, a friend's home, listening to someone play the violin or listening to someone sing, and feeling good that they made some money also, and they had a gig. Because I'm hearing the same story from people. You're living it, Javier, and I'm really glad that you're here because your insight on what we can do to help. I have no idea, and probably many of us don't know. But your background. I mean, Latania's a performer also. This is a great group, and again, I can't say it enough. I think there's a bigger vision for the future of West Hartford and the arts and culture community. But I think people need our help ASAP as well. I'd be interested in everyone's thoughts on some of these things. A list of artists that would be available to perform virtually or in person. I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea. And why don't we do this? I mean, I'm going to, I'll prepare the minutes from this. The minutes is not going to be, War and Peace. It's not going to be very long. But when I send out the agenda for the next meeting, it'll have some of these things, and we can spend next meeting more on trying to craft some suggestions to the town. And we can also, on these individual things, we can also have conversations before with each other so that we can present to this group a more, not just an idea, but something with some meat on the bone that really, that we can present to the town and work with the town on. That is allowed. We can, we're not voting on anything, but a lot of work that we do can be done on committees of this, and those committees can be one or 2 or 3 of us at a time, looking at some of these issues and coming back with something to present to the entire commission. Does that make sense? Excellent. Excellent. Does anybody have any other insights, questions, comments? Latanya.
I was leery, Chuck, about taking on this extra role because I just assumed the new role as a principal, a school principal. But I sit here with this committee inspired right now because as an artist myself, there's so much I see with my friends, I see with my students. There's so much that people want to say and want to express and how much they want to connect right now. So I feel like this opportunity came at the right time. And I just feel I'm excited and encouraged for what we can collectively do to support others and bring creativity forefront. I'm excited about it. So.
Me too. Thanks, Latanya. I'm glad you're here. Any other questions before or comments before we adjourn? See, that wasn't so bad. We made it through the first one. Okay. With that, if there's no objection, I move to adjourn the meeting. I move to adjourn the meeting, unless anybody has any objections. Hearing no objections, we are adjourned at 7:15. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you.